Wow. Hi everyone, Larika here. So I wanted to talk about the book I read this month for the Candy Reading Challenge. I will link below to where you can join this. I spoke about this before as well in a previous video. Um, and I wasn't going to talk about this month's book. I just thought I'll just read them and then every 3 months I might make a video. But this book was so, touched me so much that I just have to give it a little review. So before I do that, I just want to talk about this Candy's Reading Challenge. So you have the whole month, and then during this month you read as many books as you want a month. So you will have January has a theme. February was fanguary, so anything to do with vampires. March is going to be about the moon. So either a book that has a picture of a moon or has a name with moon in there or something like that. So this month was fanguary. So I didn't realize, I mean, how I didn't realize, I don't know, but I have never read Dracula. And so I decided this month I'm going to read Dracula. Because I don't know why. I always had this feeling that it's a very scary book, or, it's not really going to be for me. It's a bit horror, that kind of thing. And I was pleasantly surprised. So I read Dracula this month and completely blown away. You can see I made lots of notes and things in there. I watched the movie Dracula, right? And it was good. I watched the one with Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder and Gary Oldman, that one. And it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. And I just assumed that the book would be like the movie because, that's what we usually, that's what I would think because Dracula, the book, Dracula, the movie should be the same. But it was quite different. And the movie focused a lot on the Dracula himself, and you saw a lot of him. Whereas the book didn't have so much of Count Dracula himself, and there was no, you never knew what he was thinking or what he was doing. You only saw him through the eyes of other people, which I really liked. So that was one thing that was different. And also, I don't want to spoiler the book or the movie, so I want to be careful what I say about it. But the movie had more of a kind of like I don't know, I don't want to use the word romance, but some sort of love thing going through. Whereas in the book, it wasn't like that at all, right? So, yeah, so that was the main differences. And then, so why do I like the book? That was the thing that was so surprising to me, because when I read it, I felt like so comforting when I read the book, and it's supposed to be a scary horror book, right? But I felt really comforted when I read it, and I tried to think why, and I think firstly, it's his style, Bram Stoker's style of writing made me feel comfortable. It was like, I like how he used the language. And I was like, oh, I wish I had use of the English language like he does. Excuse me. It was just beautiful how he wrote it. And secondly, I think it's how the characters interacted and how they communicated with one another was the other thing that I appreciated. It was like the language of the time. So, for example, the way people talk to one another and the respect they had for one another, and the kindness they showed one another, it just made me feel really comfortable inside. Like, it just felt nice that, they, excuse me, they're so kind. They're so, um, they show respect. It just had that values, old school values a little bit, right? That was the other thing that I really loved about the book. And then there was how they treated, and I don't know if I'm right in this way, but the way they treated the women in the book, especially Mina, who's the lead character on the female side, they're almost like, I say I like the way they treat them, and I hope this comes across right, because I like that they saw her as somebody that they want to help, not save. Sometimes they looked at her a little bit as if she's a woman, she just can't do enough things, she can't. But then they looked at her on the other hand, the other side of the coin, they also looked at her in a way of, she's, she like that Van Helsing said, she has the mind of a man, which I know it sounds so, maybe so a little bit sexist, that a woman can't have the mind of a man. But remember, this was written in the late 1800s, when times were very different from today. So to me, it felt like for that time, I liked how he wrote her for that time, right? So I did like that, how they approached the women in the book. And then the final thing is the good versus evil concept, where it felt to me, what felt good to me about it was that I know these guys are the good guys, and this side is the bad side, or the evil side, or whatever, and it's clear, and I know who's going to win because good wins over evil. And maybe it's a sign of the times where we live, that I just want that comfort of, I know the good guys are going to win because they do the right thing. They don't go over to the dark side to beat the dark side. Or I don't want to say dark side, because that sounds, they don't want to go onto the evil side to beat the evil. They don't become like that. They beat it by staying good and keeping whatever it is that they believe in the right, doing the right thing. And that's how they overcome this evil, right, that exists. And to me, it's such a nice feeling to just know that, we don't have to become dark or bad to beat bad. You can do it by staying good and kind and doing the right thing. That is the only way to overcome the painful things in life and the dark stuff that we don't want to, the painful things, right? That is the way to do it. Not by becoming the pain or the evil or the problem. We overcome it by doing the right thing in a good way. I hope all of this babbling makes sense. So anyway, that was what I liked about this book, and I really, really enjoyed reading it. But something that was so interesting is, I only realized this halfway through the book, when I was sorting through my creative spaces, and I was reorganizing all my stuff, and I had boxes, and I put everything in little boxes, and I came across this postcard that I bought once in London many years ago, and I remember it clearly, and it was of Whitby Abbey. I hope you can see that. It's such a beautiful postcard, and I remember I found it in a secondhand bookshop, and I always look through old photos and postcards when I go into these secondhand stores. And as I looked at it, I thought, oh, I didn't see the name Whitby Abbey at the bottom. I just saw the postcard, and I thought, I've seen this place. I've been here. And then I saw the name and I'm like, oh, of course it's Whitby Abbey because I've been there. And the way that, and so my point is, so I saw this, and then at the back when I turned it over, there's a note. It was an actual postcard that was sent to somebody. And it was sent in 1908. And this book was written in it was published in late 1800s, I think. Yeah, 1897. So in the bigger scheme of things, it was like maybe 10 years after the book came out, this postcard was posted. So it's almost in that time, right? And it said here, with best wishes from Mr. and Mrs. C.S. Hiller. I can't see I don't know what that, I hope you can see. So that Christmas 1908, and it's addressed to Miss Sharp, Hillbrow, Reigate. And it's like, it arrived at this Miss Sharp's home without having a street name or a postcode. And the way they write was so much like he wrote in this book, because it's like from Mr. and Mrs. to Miss, it's like that kind of language. So while I was reading this book, I started to use it as my bookmark, and it just felt like so true. The book felt even more true when I had this postcard. And that was the other thing that I really liked about the book. One more thing was the way he described the scenery, because as he described the castle of Count Dracula, I could see it, even though I've never been there. He just described it so well, and it could also be because I saw a movie, so there was something to it. But when he wrote about the Abbey, Whitby Abbey, I could see it in my mind's eye, and I also knew how it looked. So it had this, it was so well described, the feeling of that graveyard outside, and I sat in that graveyard. It was just like, it was just really, he wrote so well. So I can truly recommend Bram Stoker's Dracula. The other book I was supposed to read, but I didn't have time. I know what is the date today? It's almost the end of the month now, 22. And I know I'm not going to be able to read this book in 8 days, so I'm not going to read it. I was supposed to read this one as well if I had time, and Rice's Interview with the Vampire. So I will leave this for another time. And then for March, I have 2 books. The one is called Moon and Sixpence. I thought I had that book, but I seem to not. So I ordered it, and it should arrive in next week sometime. And then I'm also going to read this one. This one I'm going to read first because I'm very excited. It's called The Turnaway Girls. And I got this book from 2 friends of mine, 2 sisters. I just love the cover, and it has the moon because it's March is about the moon. And it's written by Haley Chewins. So I will let you know how this goes when I read it. I think it's going to be easy read. I don't know, but it looks like it will. It will be quicker to read this one than the Dracula one. So I'm quite excited about that. And thank you for watching so far. And let me know what you're reading this year, and if you are signing up for some sort of a book challenge, or if you just play it by ear and decide what you feel like reading. I'm not the fastest of readers, so I try and if I can't finish 2 books, then I'm not going to do it. I would try for at least 1 book a month, and if I can read more, I read more. And I think that is more important, because I just want to enjoy what I read. I want to immerse myself in the world of that book, of what that author created. So yeah, that's it from me. I wish for you a beautiful rest of February, and I'm sending you love, and stay safe and be happy. Bye.